Hey, that was the most complete performance from the Tigers this season. A dominating 7-1 win over the Rays. We break it down next on this live edition of the Locked On Tigers postcast. Come along.
You are Locked On Tigers postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And away we go. I'm telling you what, folks, I hope you're joining us on the live YouTube stream because this is the best mood I've been in following a Tigers game in quite some time, because I've declared this as the most complete Tigers performance of the season. And we might have to check the archives for the most complete regular season in all aspects: pitching, hitting, base running, defensively. The Tigers did it all today. And if they can bottle this up, this is a scary good team, because let me tell you, they had it all. So welcome into this live edition of the Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And if you follow the tweets, you know how good of a mood I'm in after that awesome 7-1 win from the Tigers over the Rays. We're going to talk about the Javy Baez breakout game. Remember this date. That's right. April 22nd, 2024. We'll say this is where Javy Baez's career as a Tiger turned around. And oh yeah, Tarik Skubal. That's right. Tarik Skubal was at it again. All he does is just make hitters look foolish. 6 more innings of scoreless baseball, and the offense did the rest. We'll wrap it up with our studs and duds. So a ton to get to. Fired up to be with you. Appreciate everybody tuning in on the live YouTube stream. But before we go any further, how about a huge shout out for today's presenting sponsor? That's right, eBay Motors, making today's episode possible. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, like the Tigers were at tonight. Peak performance. You saw it there at the Trop. We're talking superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. So whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. It's that simple, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only, available to U.S. customers. All right. I promise you guys, it's I give you exactly what's on my mind, exactly what I'm thinking every single time, and for better or for worse. And today it is, I'm going to be honest, it's going to be difficult not to fanboy out for a portion of the program tonight, because I'm watching that game. I'm making notes quickly. And from the jump, I felt like a fan of this baseball team. And I say it time and time again. I hate losing more than I like winning. I get angry. I yell. And one of the reads even says there's no yelling or screaming on this program. I break that rule quite often. And today it was just the exact opposite. I mean, this is a baseball team that's making exceptional plays defensively with productive at-bats at the plate. They're taking the extra base. They're aggressive with a purpose. And oh, by the way, you've got a Cy Young candidate in Tarik Skubal on the mound. If you're a Tigers fan, or if you're trying to convince somebody, hey, this is a fun team to watch, this is a dangerous team, look out, this is the tape you turn on, because you look at the box score, yeah, you see a convincing 7-1 win. But if you watch that game, you're a fan of the game of baseball, you're a student of the game, the Tigers really did everything right. And I know there's 162 games in the season, so it's not as simple as saying, hey, just do that every time. But AJ Hinch and company have to look at today as April 22nd, 2024, as a complete dominating performance and what this team is capable moving forward. Because I tell you what, if they're able to play at this type of level and a multitude of assets that we're talking about here, we're talking offensively at the plate, we're talking defensively, some of the plays they made, the extra base and aggressiveness that they showed on the base pass, and of course, the pitching. You add that all up, and that is a team, a competent team that's going to make some noise. And again, if they're able to sustain this in a consistent manner, I am fired the you-know-what up about this Tigers baseball team. But portion of the program where it's time to say something really, really nice about Javy Baez, and he made it really easy today because I tell you what, that Javy Baez, that's the all-star caliber player that this Tigers team made the move to bring to Detroit. That's the type of player at the top of his game that is impacting the game on the bases, defensively, and not to mention clutch hitting. Because I think if you look at what Javy Baez is capable of doing and the way he's capable of impacting a baseball game, you have to look defensively first. And that's never been in question, at least not this season. The base running, they've always made note of how intelligent of a player he is. And if the hitting could just slide by, not asking him to be the three-hole hitter that he was at one point in his career or up in the top of the order area. No, just slide by at the bottom of the order with some productive ABs, and you saw that tonight. 2 more hits from Javy Baez, and the play he made defensively with the in-between hop on the artificial surface. The drop is what it is. I mean, I think anybody watching this program would agree it's an absolute dump and a disgrace to Major League Baseball. The fact that the Rays, who have been an organization that have done things largely the right way for at least the last decade, don't deserve to play in that dump. But the play he made on that chopper, falling backwards, in the presence of mind and the sheer arm strength to put that ball on the money, and a nice stretch from Spencer Torkelson. I do need to give him his flowers. He played well, and that was a nice play that completes the play. But that's when you knew things were going well tonight. So let me know what you think. We got a couple of people tuning in. Get to the comments here, because this is one of those nights, if you watch 162 baseball games, you're going to see some duds. But you're also going to see some games that just excite you as a fan, and I felt like tonight was exactly right. Sydney Carriel chiming in. How about that, sports fans? Mark Canha got it started with the solo shot. We love it. A first inning home run. I agree. That set the tone. And if you felt kind of the momentum from that first inning home run, I think you could go and make the jump that the Tigers fed off of that first inning home run, the no doubt about her from Mark Canha. We've got Born Cool checking in here. Best game this team played all year. That was a fun one, no doubt about that. I also have to give a shout out to Kerry Carpenter. We'll get to him in the portion of the Studs and Duds program, or the portion of the program talking about Studs and Duds. 7th consecutive game with an RBI. Javy may be getting good, says Born Cool. Maybe. Look, I have been so vocal about I'll say Javy's shortcomings. We'll leave it at that. And I don't think he's the type of player that the Tigers thought he'd be, bringing him in largely. But hand up, I can be the first to admit when I am completely wrong. And tonight, Javy showed, oh yeah, there's still some gas in the tank. He can still perform at an elite level as a shortstop defensively, make an impact on the bases, and still has a dangerous bat. So again, tonight, April 22nd, 2024, I'm going to keep saying that date because I think this is when you look at what this team is capable of. You look at Javy Baez individually, a breakout type of game where he did it all defensively, base running, and at the plate. And you say, let's garnish this and use it as momentum moving forward for the Tigers. They got to be feeling good. You get the series win over the Twins over the weekend. And yesterday was also a convincing win. I mentioned that on the program yesterday, that it was kind of nice to just kick your feet up on a Sunday afternoon and watch your team cruise to victory. A couple other notes that I had down. It did get a little dicey in that 8th inning after the home run. We had 2 guys on, and I think Jason Benetti, as he often does, put it perfectly on the air of the objects in the mirror are closer than they may appear, because one swing of the bat, then you're looking at a completely different game. But credit to the Tigers bullpen that although they gave up the home run, they stop the scoring there. And we did have that smooth sailing feeling down the stretch. So Tigers get the win. Shout out to Adam Colum checking in from Lansing Catholic. That's my guy. And maybe Shelby Miller. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of positives going on. We won't be too harsh on Shelby Miller, but I completely agree. What a pickup Mark Canha has been. That's why I get a little bit fired up when I talk about who the Tigers could also have picked up to help with the offensive side of things and help the middle of that order with some of the players that have been slumping. But we won't get into all that because, like I said, April 22nd, 2024, that's going to be the date that we remember. We turn on this tape against the Tampa Bay Rays. You see the elite defense being played, the dominating pitching from Tarik Skubal, the extra bases being taken on the base pass by the aggressive Detroit Tigers, and enough hitting to essentially impose their will on the Rays. So great way to start the series. Javy Baez, shout out to him, a breakout game. Now we know what he's capable. So anything less, Javy, anything less, that's the way fans work, right? Anything less than what he showed tonight, we're going to be disappointed. No, let's stay positive. Really loved what I saw from Javy Baez tonight. And we will continue breaking this one down. I want to do a deep dive on Tarik Skubal's performance when we come back. Don't go anywhere. All right, today's show also made possible by FanDuel. That's right. FanDuel, a proud presenting sponsor of today's show. It's playoff time in the NBA, NHL, and of course, baseball season is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150. Win or lose, you can bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Tarik Cy Young Skubal. I know, pump the brakes a little bit, but you can check my betting accounts that I made a future on Tarik Skubal to win the Cy Young back after his first start for the Tigers, when I felt like, hey, this is a guy that's going to bring it every single game. If he stays healthy, the sky is the limit. Tonight was more proof of exactly that. I always like to start with the numbers. So we went 6 innings scoreless, allowed just 3 hits, 0 runs, obviously 0 earned runs, did not walk a single batter, 9 Ks, $1.82 ERA on the season now. And there's nothing more you need to see from Tarik Skubal to prove that he is exactly that, a bona fide ace in Major League Baseball, a guy that anyone wants to have on their team, a guy that when he takes the mound, you feel good about your team's chances in winning the game. The Tigers are now 5-0 in games in which Skubal has started. 4-1, really, really good on that sense as well. You feel like when he's on the mound, your team has a chance to win. And this evening was more proof of exactly that. He was fooling hitters. He was making hitters look foolish. He was everything you want to see in a pitcher. He was exactly that. The confidence, the swag, however you want to describe it. Tarik Skubal was a guy that commanded the zone. He absolutely had his way in all aspects. Jake Rogers deserves some credit for the game that he called, mixing it up. And defensively, I feel like you feed off of a pitcher when he's in the groove the way Tarik Skubal was today. Defensively, we saw Javy Baez make some plays, Colt Keith make some plays, the outfield chasing fly balls down. Any way you slice it, this was the type of game that really reestablishes your belief in this team. And I know we got to pump the brakes a little bit. It's one game out of 162, but you go up and down Twitter or X or whatever people are calling it now, and I'm not alone in feeling this way. People are going to look at this game as what this Tigers team can be. You had your ace on the mound, 6 scoreless innings. You had your aggressive base running, taking the extra base. You had awesome plays in the field defensively, a lot to be really, really excited about in terms of what the Tigers did defensively. Awesome stuff from Tarik Skubal, and the swing and misses too. It's not like Tarik Skubal is pitching to contact or using, at times, sometimes a pitcher's numbers can be inflated based on what happens. There's a lot that goes on outside of his control, but the 9 Ks, really, really impressive stuff there, and just shows you how good Skubal has been. And like I said, I don't think there's any better compliment you can give a pitcher than when he takes the ball, you feel like your team's going to win. And I know I'm not alone in that remark in terms of how we feel about Tarik Skubal. Now, the bullpen did give up the 1 run there, Shelby Miller. The Rays were able to break the shutout in the bottom of the 8th inning. That's back-to-back games now where you felt like you had a shutout in place, but one measly little run at the end there. The Twins did exactly that, although theirs was in the 9th on Sunday, but that was close to being a 6-0 game. And then tonight was close to being a 7-0 game, but just a lone run there late in the inning. But it was interesting. Benetti and Monroe talked about a little bit on the broadcast that as a reliever, sometimes pitching in those no pressure situations just take a completely different sense than when you're geared up and every batter matters and it's in a tense, pressurized situation. And the Tigers bullpen just hasn't had that the last couple of games, which is a good thing, but it changes the dynamics of the approach, and it shouldn't, but I think human nature plays a role in that as well. When you think of, you come into a game, you've clearly dominated, you're up 7-0, let's get 3 outs and let's get out of here, boys. And unfortunately for the Tigers, that's back-to-back games in which the shutout was so close, but did not come through. But that's all right, because again, I think you look at this game and any way you slice it, you just feel really, really good. So let me know what you thought of Tarik Skubal on the bump there. He was really, really good. And you think about what he can do for the remainder of this season if he continues to stay hot, continues to stay healthy. A good comment here from Born Cool, plus 600 to win the Cy Young. I got him at plus 950. So I'm praying, man. I am praying. Maybe I won't be doing Locked On shows for the rest of my life if Skubal makes me a rich man. I kid. Of course, I kid. But that changeup, wow. Broder makes a great comment on the YouTube feed right now. That changeup, I mentioned it, Broder. I don't know if you were on at the portion of the program at the beginning where he was just making hitters look so foolish. The 9 Ks is a testament to that, but 0 walks. I mean, 0 walks, 9 Ks. People would sell their soul for those kind of numbers. Those are the type of numbers that you circle in a box score and say, yeah, I had the other team's number, guys. I had it tonight. And that's the kind of swag that Tarik Skubal takes into the game and the kind of confidence he should have. And again, I mentioned it, but I think the defense behind him really fed off of that, and the offense for that matter. Go all the way back to the first inning, Canha with the solo home run, gives the team the early lead before Skubal even takes the mound. And, it was curtains after that. See ya, the type of game that you kick your feet up and you just watch and enjoy it. And again, I said it at the beginning of the program that this was the type of game where the fandom in me was ignited. I felt like a kid again watching baseball, cheering on the Tiger teams of years past, where every time they took the field, you just felt like they were going to win. So I also hope today can serve as, I want to say, the barometer of what this team is capable of. And, certainly you're not going to have your A+ game every time you take the field. It's like a golfer. Sometimes you get out there and you're like, I feel like I've never swung a club before. And then other times you feel like you can't miss a fairway. But I think tonight has got to be that benchmark of what this team is capable of in all aspects. And if it was, a slugfest where the offense had a good day, or maybe a pitcher's duel where the defense and pitching won you the game. No, tonight was where all components of the game were thriving and really clicking on all cylinders. They were taking the extra base. It was just a confident, dominating performance from a team that all of a sudden, don't look now, but this team is playing some really, really good baseball, 13-10 on the season. 9-3 away from home. That's one that I mentioned it yesterday when we were talking about the 2 out of 3 series win on the road against the Twins, but 9-3 on the road, really, really impressive stuff there. The Brewers are 10-2 on the road, so the Tigers don't have the best record of all teams in the major leagues on the road. But again, you win 9 out of 12 games on the road. And because what do they always say? Win the home games and try and be 500 on the road. It's early, Jake. It's April 22nd, 2024. But again, remember that date, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, I think this is the date where we say, hey, this is what Javy Baez is capable of. I want to see this on a consistent basis, because if he can do what he did tonight and on a consistent level, he's the type of player that you can win around. He's an all-star caliber player. He's proved it in years past. I've been very, very critical of him. At times, it appears he hasn't played the game the right way. We can go on and on about the plate approach, but tonight you circle tonight's game and you say Javy Baez brought it tonight. You circle tonight's game and you said we had a legitimate Cy Young candidate on the mound, making the opposing hitters look silly with 6 innings of scoreless baseball and 9 Ks. You look at tonight and say, this is an aggressive team. And I know at times we, tongue in cheek will say, oh, this, AJ Hinch knows everything about how this team can operate. Scott Harris said, yeah, this is the identity of the team. We're going to play good defense and be aggressive and have great pitching and win some games that way. But tonight, I got to tip the cap. That's exactly what we saw. And it was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun. So appreciate everybody tuning in to this live edition of our Locked On Tigers postcast. We will wrap it up with some studs and duds when we come back. Don't go anywhere. All right, today's show also made possible by eBay Motors. That's right. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. I'm talking superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. So whether you're into speed, power, or style, if you ask me, the Tigers had it all tonight. eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every single time or your money back. Let me say that again. That's important. With eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every single time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. And hey, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? You have to turn it down, the volume with all that shouting, or are you watching me after a Tigers loss? Well, make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for your everyday to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming, all the talking heads. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, and it's streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free, everybody loves free, the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, we tie a bow on this thing, and I try to bring my fanboy level down a little bit. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me with the studs and duds portion of the program. I got a lot of studs on today's episode because the Tigers' performance warranted a lot of studs. And I want to start with Javy Baez. We've talked about him a lot, but the way he impacted the game with his base running, clutch hit there in the second, eventually came around to score, and the plays defensively. Javy, I know you're a big fan of the show. I know you're watching, but that's what we need from you on a consistent basis. You do that, and oh my goodness, we are going to love you in Detroit. It's really, really simple. Play the game the right way. Play the way you're capable of. Don't swing at pitches in the left-handed batter's box, and we will love you in Detroit. We won't boo you. You don't have to do this. And, if you're listening, the hand in the ears thing, just bottle this up and let's see it on a consistent basis. So he certainly gets a stud for today. Obviously, Tarik Skubal, and I don't want to rehash the first two segments that we just had because that's going to get a little bit repetitive, but Tarik Skubal definitely deserves the praise and the studs portion of the program. I'll run through his numbers one more time because they were that good. 6 innings, 0 earned runs. He scattered just 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, no walks. What a performance from Skubal. Now 3-0 on the season. That ERA for Skubal, really, really impressive. $1.82. Amazing. I mean, I want to believe, and I do. I sincerely believe that this is who Tarik Skubal is. This is the kind of guy that we can expect to be sporting the old English D on the mound and joining that rich, rich history of dominant Tigers pitchers. And again, this is one start, but it's worth pointing out that he just continues to bring it on a consistent basis. Also, Kerry Carpenter, we mentioned he had the RBI, but here's where we have to really break it down because Kerry Carpenter did something in a Tigers uniform that hasn't been done since Miguel Cabrera did it in August of 2013. That's an RBI in 7 straight games, the longest streak by a Tiger since Miguel Cabrera in 2013. Shout out to Kerry Carpenter. He has been the type of model of consistency in the batting order that this team certainly needs. And again, it wasn't his best game tonight, but the RBI shows that he continues to make an impact on the game any way he can. He was 1 for 5, but gets that RBI and extends the streak. So we'll see if he can continue to extend it again tomorrow. Also, Mark Canha, when you start in the first inning with a towering home run, also had the 2 RBI on the day, 3 hits in total, came around to score twice. Mark Canha, one of the studs of the game as well. Now, we do have to have some duds, and I wrote it down. There's only a couple minutes left in the program, so maybe this is one good way to ruin a good show, and some who will yell, Riepma, you're the most negative person I know, but the Lakeland Flying Tigers were at the game. It was cool to see the big league club dapping it up with the single A club. I love it. All that's great. But the telecast decided to put me in a bad mood and flash to Max Clark, who's sitting by himself with the bling bling on that says MC. And he just, again, I'll put my hand up. I'm sure this is way, way too overreactionary on my behalf, but the receipt cleats, the few interviews I've heard, the bling, the MC, the guy just seems like he's all about himself. He seems like he's such a I don't want to go as far to say arrogant, and I know you got to have confidence in yourself, but is he a good teammate? Is he a cool guy to be around? I don't know. And again, this is a Jake Riepma problem that I'll get over, especially if he turns out to be a great player. But when I see Wyatt Langford for the Texas Rangers absolutely mashing and leading the most hits for the rookies with the most hits, it's just so frustrating to think we got Max Clark. And again, I hope I'm wrong. His numbers as of late have been better. I got to be fair to him, but I don't know why when I saw him flashed on the screen of the telecast with the MC bling bling, it just bothered me. So I got to get over that. And Born Cool says Max Clark loves the camera. Yeah, I got to get over it. He's not actually a dud. He didn't do anything wrong. The receipts cleats are stupid, and I don't agree with that type of flashiness. Just go out and play baseball, man. That's all you got to do. But again, great night tonight. So we're going to focus on the positives because there was no duds on the field. Everybody played up to the stud caliber of play for the Tigers, which is why they won 7-1 and they won going away. So Feel really, really good about the way this series has started for the Tigers. With the win, they are 13-10, 9-3 on the road. The Rays fall back to 500. They're 12-12 on the season. But nothing but good things to say about the most complete performance from the guys so far this season, and probably in some time. It was really, really good, led by Tarik Skubal, led by Mark Canha, leading the game, or not leading the game off, but home run in the top of the first inning. Javy Baez, his best game of the season. It was just a really, really good night to be a fan of the Detroit Tigers. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, you can download just the audio-only version of the program right on the Locked On Tigers page. That's also where you'll find the tremendous coverage of Locked On Tigers day in and day out from Scott Bentley. Does a tremendous job. So make sure you're tuned into both. The way we see it's just a 1-2 punch of Tigers coverage all times. Scott Bentley has his opinions. I've got my opinions. Together, we are locked in, if you will, on the Detroit Tigers, and that's what makes it fun, especially if they can continue playing this type of baseball. So thanks so much for joining me on Locked On Tigers postcast, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Tigers with the dominating 7-1 win over the Rays. Tomorrow, first pitch at 6:50 Eastern time, and we will see you post-game. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.